Hey, Squeak Squad. So this is what I read in January of 2025, starting off with Chainsaw Man, Volume 17. This volume had a lot of crazy shit happening, as a lot of Chainsaw Man volumes tend to go. Specifically, a lot of development into the Chainsaw Man and war characters, kind of setting up a conspiracy, setting up a big conflict. It's very interesting, but I'm being vague because I don't want to spoil Chainsaw Man for people. We've also got Dark Gathering, Volume 11, and in this volume we have, I think we actually have the closest the main character has been to death so far, and like an extraordinarily strong threat that also lets us get introduced to a new character who is kind of assisting them and I think they just kind of popped up out of nowhere, honestly, but it's interesting. I still really like Dark Gathering. I didn't mention my opinions on Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man Volume was great. Really liked it. We've also got Marriage Toxin Volume 5. So I think we're finishing up the arc with the Animal Master in this volume. I believe we finished it up. Because I know at the end we had a completely different fight. But I think that was like a bonus chapter, maybe? Yeah. We had a completely different fight at the end that's just like a one-shot bonus chapter. But uh, I like Marriage Toxin. I wasn't actually interested in picking it up at first. It was my partner's series, but he hasn't started reading it yet, so I decided to start reading it, and it's pretty enjoyable. I like it a lot so far. Then we've got another highly anticipated Shonen Jump work. We have the first volume of Ruri Dragon. This is a series about a young girl who discovers that she is part dragon when she accidentally breathes fire on a classmate's head in class. And it's about her discovering what that means, who she is, and who her family is, and how to control her powers. It's a very simple slice of life so far, and I'm looking forward to reading more of it. We've also got Sakamoto Days, Volume 15, still having some of the best covers in Shonen Jump volumes lately. I don't know if that's something that I messed up on. Oh, yep, that was, whoops. I guess there was a black smudge on there for some reason. So we've got more development into the subplot with Scar and the people who are trying to kill Sakamoto. We have the main characters infiltrating basically the headquarters, from what I can tell, of the 5 or 6 people that have been making their lives hell. We kind of get a thing where it's not quite finished. They do get away. So we kind of are trying now to find new ways to find where they are and how to take them down. I apologize if this is sounding very vague. It's, again, trying to not spoil the plot of something that has a longer ongoing narrative. Next, we've got Spy Family 13. We've got the end of a actual spy mission happening in this volume, and then we've got back to slice of life chapters for a few chapters with some development of Yuri's brother. It's cute. I'm kind of turning around a little bit. I kind of fell off of Spy Family for a bit, but I'm starting to like it more lately. I don't know. My opinion changes like the weather. Now we've got the Shoujo Beats. I've only got 5 this month. We have Like a Butterfly, Volume 10. We've got, I think we actually have the, yeah, we have the resolution to a minor conflict in the main characters. Those aren't the main 2 characters, those are side characters. We have a resolution to that small conflict that happened in the previous volume. And then we have, I think we actually have another person trying to, realizing that they also might have feelings for the main character. But as we know in shoujo, the person who comes in, the person who isn't first in being introduced as a romantic interest just doesn't often really succeed, especially if they get introduced literally like 2 volumes before the end as a romantic lead, or as a romantic interest, so too bad for him. We've got Volume 2 of Otaku Vampire's Love Bite. We've got another character introduced in this volume that has a questionable power set. because it does seem like he is able to resist the main character's vampiric will, which theoretically only stronger vampires than her can do, because as the power system in this series works, vampires who have stronger powers have control over weaker vampires, and she's basically almost a pure 100% vampire. The only person stronger than her, to her knowledge, is her father. So we get to kind of figure out and piece together what that means. And of course, that's just the serious stuff that happens in this volume. The rest of it's really cute cosplay cafe stuff happening at school. It's very fun. I like it a lot. It's a really cutesy series. Then we have Rainbow Days Volume 14. This volume focuses a lot on Tsuyoshi, who's the kind of otaku character. I didn't realize he was blepping a little bit. It's really cute. I liked this volume because it kind of focused on one of the characters I have more interest in. I like that it's not just kind of repeating the same thing over and over again. It's looking forward to what they're going to do after high school and figuring out their plans and realizing a lot of them don't really have their thoughts together on it. It's an enjoyable volume, a bright spot in that series. Then we have Timon's B-Side, Volume 6, and if I'm correct, yeah, we get more deliberation, more expansion on one of the members of Face, who is the person who writes all the songs. We get to find out, I think do we find out why he's like that? Why he has a hard time writing? We might. I don't remember the full specifics of it. This is also a really fun, cute series, especially if you like people who kind of have a completely different side of themselves than what they show the media. So it's great for a lot of like idol fans, K-pop, J-pop, other types of idols. And then we have a BL Sublime volume. I don't get Sublime that often. This one seemed interesting when I picked up the first volume. This is Stigmata Love Bites Volume 2. This was actually the final volume of this series. We are wrapping up the murder case in this volume and establishing the end of the romantic development between the two leads, which, as you can guess with Sublime, I think actually does. Yep, that's some stuff that happens at the end there, but it's BL Sublime. What can you expect except for sex? Then we have Shonen Sunday with a couple releases. We have Komi Can't Communicate Volume 32. Let's see. Yes, we have Imoyama. Is this mainly Imoyama? I don't really see them focusing on one character that often. Okay, it's mainly the girl who likes basically watching people have romantic, emotional moments, and the guy who always has a pacifier in his mouth. It kind of expands on their characters, and we are down to 21 friends left for Komi. I do know the series ended in Japan. I don't know how many volumes, but I'm sure it's ending fairly soon. Then we have Mao Volume 19, and this finishes off the arc in I almost said the festival, in the village that's performing the human sacrifices. Then we also have, yes, okay, I was just making sure I was actually reading that right. Let's see. We have Natsuko, I don't know who that is. Nanoka trying to actually have a serious fight on her own and building more of her strength, so hopefully she's going to be able to be more of an asset to the group. Unfortunately, it's kind of been the case where Nanoka has grown a little bit, but just it feels like it takes a while for her to actually get integrated into the combat in this story. She always feels like she's weaker than everybody else, unfortunately, but I hope she is able to fight on the same level as all of her cohorts at some point, hopefully sooner than later. Next, we have Origin Volume 8 by Boichi. In this volume, we have the main two. This is also one I can't really spoil much of what happens, but the cover kind of spoils a bit. We basically have the main character escaping from society because he's basically being pursued, and he has to get away. He has to hide somewhere remote while he can fully recover. being vague because this is definitely a story-heavy series that I don't want to spoil. Then we have Thunder 3 Volume 2. This volume we've got... what actual plot stuff happens? Oh, right, yes, that... It's been a while since I read this. We have the a resistance introduced that is actually trying to go against the aliens because they're believing the aliens are a hostile presence that's endangering... Well, everybody knows the aliens in this series are endangering everybody and being very, very harmful to society. But there's a group of people that's actually being introduced that is going against them instead of just submitting to their tyranny out of fear. So we have, I think we actually just have like some random character joining that. Some character we really don't know much about. And then we just kind of have some expansion on that. And then of course at the very end, that character finds out about I think actually at the very end he finds out about the little boys. That sounds weird when I say it like that. I don't know if the boys are actually play much of a role in this volume. But yes, we have pretty emotional moment at the end of this volume that's probably going to galvanize him into being more of a force of the resistance in fighting these aliens, or it's going to make him afraid to fight them. We'll have to see until the next volume. Next, we have the final volume of Lord Hades' Ruthless Marriage, Volume 3. So far, this series has been like kind of each chapter is a different love interest introduced that potentially could marry Hades. But this volume kind of seemed to, while it did that, it also kind of built up. Well, there's big spoilers for this one, but it's also something that's kind of not like a revolutionary concept of the main male lead getting with the main female character. But throughout the series, there hasn't been a lot of romantic development between the two of them. In this volume, we kind of have a thread of romantic development happening between the two of them through the different people who are suggested to him as marriage partners, including one guy, finally. We had one guy. So we do have some representation here, which is wonderful, because they are Greek gods, and I don't think Greek gods have very strict preferences on gender. Anyways, it was enjoyable, though it was a lot longer than the previous volumes. I feel like it was almost like a 2-in-1 with how thick it was. So it took a bit more time to read than the previous volumes. I probably would have preferred the series to go on longer and have that thread of their relationship kind of build up a bit better instead of just being built up all in this one volume. But that's my own opinion. I still really like the series. So those last couple were Yen Press. This one's the last Yen Press we have this month that I read, which was Kowloon Generic Romance Volume 9. I just noticed her dress is kind of doing a yin-yang. That's kind of interesting. We have more development on they're not called regulars. What are they called? Originals? I feel like there's a different word they're using other than original. More development on the originals and Reiko Kujirai's understanding of herself as not the original. We have more development on Kowloon in general. As it is with this series, each volume kind of goes deeper and deeper into the mystery surrounding Kowloon. It's a very fun read, and I would definitely recommend it to anybody. Recommend it to anybody who enjoys mysteries or character-driven stories. I will say it does say parental advisory warning explicit content on every volume. So far, there hasn't been anything explicit aside from, I think, one shower scene where you can actually see Reiko's, I don't even know if you see her fully defined breasts. I think it might just be a silhouette of her, or a silhouette of her without the nipples. Can't think of a way to phrase that properly. But it's not super explicit, so I'm not really sure why they have that parental advisory on there. That's just my opinion, though. I don't really know why. Then we have Volume 3 of My Sister Took My Fiancé and Now I'm Being Courted by a Beastly Prince. I do enjoy this series. I definitely feel like the first part of this story was kind of rushed and felt like that could have been where the series ended. because they rushed it so much, it was basically the first arc was just done in like 1 or 2 volumes, and now we're moving on to an entirely separate arc that basically comes from the consequences of the end of the first arc. Flip through some of the art here. I do enjoy this series. I can't remember too many specifics about this volume in general, aside from the things that I've already said. I'm sure it was a lot of interesting things happened, but oh yeah, we do have the prince's younger sister being introduced, and we get to learn about her relationship with her older brother. I am talking way too fast. Then we have something that's definitely extremely explicit, The Titan's Bride, Volume 6. This volume we have the main character working on his task to hatch the egg. We have an assassination attempt that happens. We have some intrigue with some of the other characters who are trying to get, I think Caius is his name? Yes. Make sure Caius doesn't take the throne by interfering with his challenge. I don't know if it's an assassination attempt or just trying to interfere with the challenge or break the egg. I can't remember specifically. Again, parental advisory, fully don't read this if you're not 18 or older. Also, I love him and I want more of him. I want him explicit, please. Just saying. Then we have another really explicit volume, as you can probably tell by the cover, with Wanna Be My Dress-Up Lover by Mamita. This series is about 2 office workers. One is a manager, one is his subordinate. And the subordinate's a lot more competent than the manager, and the subordinate's also kind of an asshole at work to the manager. And then the manager likes to dress up. I think he does like to dress. Yes. He likes to dress up in women's clothes and be a maid at this crossplay cafe. Then we have the subordinate seeing him at that crossplay cafe because he goes into there, and we have a relationship develop between the two of them. There is some like coercion. It's not non-con, but it's not non-consensual, but it's that thing between consensual and non-consensual where it's a little bit vague if there's full consent there, so be advised if that's sort of a turn-off for you. But if you're 18 plus, I think this is I really enjoyed this read without getting into the specifics about how I felt about things. I think it's also, I think, fully uncensored, so I can't really show any pages from it, which is a rarity from a lot of manga nowadays to be fully uncensored, but it definitely makes me want to check out all of Mamita's other stuff. One more thing about this series, they're both, I think, 30s and 20s, which is great. We love seeing, I almost said older men. We love seeing adults that aren't just like college age or very fresh adults developing relationships with each other. It's a fun thing compared to what we usually get. I did not mention these last 3 were 7 Cs. I might have. Then we have the final volume of Last Quarter by Aizawa. This is a series about a girl who is inhabiting a house as a ghost, and we have these kids trying to figure out who she is and how to save her from her fate of being trapped in a house. I very much enjoyed this. It was really confusing to get through, if I'm being honest. I had a hard time following some of the specifics of the plot. So it might have been better for me to read them back to back, but I did really enjoy it, and so far have not disliked a single thing Yazawa's done, and I really hope that we get more of her work licensed. I still haven't read Nana or Paradise Kiss, though I intend to. And Last Quarter started my Viz section. Then we have Snowball Earth Volume 4. We have the end of a major kaiju fight where we have some kaiju and where we have some invaders trying to steal. They're trying to steal one of the kaiju from the encampment where the main character is staying. We have the end of that fight, and then we have character development of the main perpetrator of that fight, explaining why he is the way he is and why he chose to invade and what he was planning to do with the kaiju. Great series. Then we have Tokyo Alien Bros. This is Volume 1. This is by Keigo Shinzo, the creator of Hirayasumi. Very much not Hirayasumi. It's very different. It's Please note it's explicit content. I did not. I bought it and it was. I saw it said explicit content, but I didn't really think about it until there was a specific scene with something happening to one of the characters that was very unexpected, like unexpectedly sexual, and it was just kind of, it threw me off a little bit. I don't know if I like the series or not. It's the characters are assholes, and they might just be. I mean, I'm sure that's how they're intended to be written, but I'm not sure how I feel about them just being massive assholes to everything. Oh, but I didn't explain the concept. There are two aliens who were sent down to Earth to prepare it to evaluate if it's something worthy of taking over, and then if it is, prepare it to be taken over by these aliens, by their species. Then we have Kodansha releases with Gachiakuda Volume 5. We have a fight happening in this volume with a young girl, and introducing her power set and growing, kind of expanding on her character as well, saying why she is the way she is. And then we finally get some we get to start asking her questions next volume, I think. Then we have Medalist Volume 6, also a series with beautiful covers. This volume we have. What do we have this volume? Yes, we have a major tournament for Inori. It is the Chubu Block tournament, yes. We have this volume is basically just Chubu Block tournament, the conclusion of it. I still really like it. I love this volume. I love the series. I can't say what happened in the tournament because that's kind of spoiling the series, but great series. Then we have the Spellbook Library Volume 2. We have a explanation for the main character, why he has his powers, and his motivations in this volume. We have the end to the fight that started in the previous volume against the extremely powerful magic creature. I don't remember what these things are called. Spell Beast. Great volume. Usa Isaki is a very interesting mangaka. I like reading their stuff. Then we have Witch Hat Atelier, Volume 13, and in this volume we have the conclusion to this major fight that's happening. This major, like, terrorist attack. And we have some small, very tiny bridge connecting the brim hats to the cone hats. Connecting the good witches to what they perceive as the bad witches. I don't remember what the good witches are called. I know the other ones are brim caps. We have some slight compromise between the two of them, so we're wondering what the fate of the compromise between these witches are going to be. Very interesting fights, very dynamic volume. Then we've got some Tokyo Pop. We've got one volume of If My Favorite Pop Idol Made it to the Budokan, I Would Die, and this is volume 10. It's the only one with a single person on the cover. So if you're an Idol fan, I'm sure you can infer what that means, but I won't be specific about what happens in it because it's the 10th damn volume, and that would just be a major spoiler. But it's pretty emotional. A lot of things happen to everybody's relationships because of something that happens. Very fun series. Great Yuri, even if it's a very, 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 very slow burn Yuri. Then we have IL by Osamu Tezuka. This is very explicit. It's a series about a girl who a down-and-out filmmaker discovers, who has the ability to shapeshift into different people. So it's basically him guiding her through solving people's problems and figuring out things by shapeshifting and assuming new roles in people's lives. And we learn about who she is, and I mean, we do learn what she is, why she's able to shapeshift in this volume, or in this series, in this one-off. It's a very interesting read. I think it's probably one of my favorite Tezuka works so far. I haven't read a lot of his more acclaimed works, though. Then we have a couple Square Enixes with Monsters in Love Volume 3, the final volume of this Yakuza BL that I really enjoyed. though it did seem like the relationship kind of snapped together in this volume. It didn't feel like it was building up much from the boss's perspective. Kind of my issue I had with Lord Hades, where it felt like the relationship idea was there, but it wasn't built upon very well until the final volume. No, well, there was some jealousy, some minor jealousy that happened, but I kind of wish there was more time to breathe with the idea of them being in a relationship. Overall, I think I just want the series to be longer, I think. Then we have The Villainess's Guide to Not Falling in Love, Volume 3. In this volume, we have a kind of an explanation of some of the magic in this kingdom, some of the conspiracy behind a curse that was cast on one of the characters. It's an interesting villainess series that I like when they expand more on the magic systems and introduce elements that aren't just the political intrigue. So it was a fun read, very interesting so far. And then we have a few yen presses. Yeah, we have 3. First of all, we have All or Nothing by Shike. This is another BL, another explicit release about a group of 4 friends where 2 of them come out to their other 2 friends because they've been in a relationship together for, I think, 6 months, and that causes the other 2 friends to question their sexuality and realize that they potentially have feelings for each other. I very much enjoy Shike's work so far. I've only read Pink Heart Jam and All or Nothing. I'm pretty sure Pink Heart Jam was also Shike, but they were both very good series. Then we have Shadow's House Volume 8. We have more expansion on the mystery of Shadow's House in this volume. We have the brainwashing subplot with the coffee coming to a bit of a head. We have... what else happens in this volume, actually? Yeah, we have potentially a build-up to full rebellion in the children's house of Shadow's House. And I'm being vague about this for obvious reasons. This is a mystery series, so it's best not to get spoiled on it. Then we have Elden Ring Road to the Erd Tree, Volume 5. In this volume, we start off saying we're going to the Caelid Festival where they would fight Radon. But we kind of get sidetracked with... what is her name? Millicent. We get sidetracked with the subplot of Millicent, the woman who was cursed by the Scarlet Rot, and needs to be cured in order to live. We get kind of distracted with that, and then at the very end of this volume, we start the Caelid tournament where they would be fighting Radon. For a comedy series, this series does have very pretty art that I think does a great job of representing the creatures in Elden Ring. It's got a good, pretty ugly style, where it's creatures that are perceived as ugly, but the way they're drawn is well drawn. It's very detailed and specific. Then we have Blood Night Market Volume 1 by Chisei Ogawa. Now, I can't remember, there was one other Chisei Ogawa work I had that I enjoyed, and then I decided to pick this up. I think a friend recommended it as well. It is a series about a world where vampires exist, and they are basically legally controlled to where they can only... let's see, they can only... yeah, they have to, like, buy and sell blood and have the permission to drink blood, but of course there's people who don't follow those rules, and we have this main character here who has, for all of his life, had undesirable blood. He is a member of the police force that is trying to stop the illegal activities and take control of it, and I think he actually has to kill the vampires that are breaking the rules. But we also have this character introduced who seems to be a fan of the main character's blood, and we have their relationship starting. This is not a BL, to what I know, so it's kind of just going to be, a fairly standard shonen. I think Shonen Ai maybe. I didn't really like it, though, if I'm being frank. I'll see what I feel about it later volumes, though. Then we've got some these last 2 were 7Cs. We've got Kageki Shoujo Volume 12. We've got the scene of Orpheus and Eurydice with Sarasa and, I think is it Ai and Sarasa acting as the main 2 leads in the play? It might be. We have that scene and the implications that it has for Saras's acting career and how she's developing as an actor, especially because in the world of Kabuki, where she wanted to act initially, you have to fully become the role. But in the world of the Kageki Review, I think that's what it's called, you have to kind of interpret the character as your own character. So it's a struggle that Sarasa's been having so far. So we get some more development on that, and we might be reaching a conclusion of that with this next volume. Then we've got a couple volumes of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid Fafnir the Recluse, volumes 4 and 5. This is just a fairly cute, not high stakes slice of life. I was a bit behind on the series, so I was able to catch up and read 2 volumes this month. Main things that happen in one of them, let's see. I actually, we have live streaming, we have Gashapon, we have a flea market. We have just a bunch of various small chapters in both of these volumes. Yeah, there's not really a lot to go on specifics about. It's just a slice of life with like one-off, maybe two-off chapters of things that happen. I'm not as big of a fan of it as I was initially, but it's still enjoyable enough to keep reading. Then we have My Dear Friend Nokotan, Volume 5, and I did already know what was going to happen in this volume, unfortunately, because I've watched the anime, but it was still stupid and fun. It is the resolution of the sports festival, and I think at the very end they just have a couple other things that happen after the sports festival. Yeah, we have a random hunter. I'm just going to leave it on that. Read it if you want to know what the hell I'm talking about. Then we have My Girlfriend's Child, Volume 6. What happens in this volume? I do not remember specifically. Yes, we have the resolution of the main character deciding if she wants to continue schooling while she's pregnant, if she wants to go to a school where she would only have to go occasionally and it wouldn't be where her bullies are and where the people who have tormented her are. And then we have those same people kind of realizing what they've done in the kind of typical way where people will harshly bully somebody, and then when it kind of blows up in their face, they realize, oh, that was terrible, and we're terrible people for doing that. But we do kind of have some happiness come back to the main character, which is good because she's been struggling a lot lately. Then we have Otaku Elf, Volume 8. This volume we get introduced to another elf in a different prefecture of Japan. Right? I think that's in this volume. I'm going to make sure. Let me flip through some of the pictures real quick. Yeah, no, that's at the very end that happens. A lot of this volume happens to deal with the other elf who is obsessed with gambling, and she wins it big, and we get to have the repercussions of that on the cast, and what happens as she keeps trying to win more and more money. There's other smaller things that happen. Those were the 2 most memorable arcs of it for me. I really do enjoy Otaku Elf. It's a very fun series. It's cute. Side tangent, there was a series that I decided to check out that was Welcome to Japan, Miss Elf. I thought it was going to be similar, but it is... I don't really like it nearly as much, and it's etchier than I thought it would be, which is a bit unfortunate. Anyways, now I'm going to get down to the stuff that I read that came out different times. Ninth, and it came out this month because I caught up on reading, because the store I went to was very behind on sorting their inventory and stuff, so I wasn't able to get some of my newer releases, so I kind of got a chance to read through some old stuff. We've got Wanted by Matsuri Hino. It is a one-shot about about pirates. A young girl who ends up becoming a pirate to look for somebody who she was close to that she lost in her life that was abducted by pirates. She's leaving her royal family to do that. And then we have just kind of the repercussions of that. I think we also have a couple other one-shots in here. Maybe 1 or 2 other ones. Yeah, we do have one other one-shot about an arranged marriage sort of thing that happens. I actually don't remember the specifics of it. yeah, we have like an arranged marriage and a girl falling in love with somebody who she doesn't think is going to be the partner she's supposed to be partnered with, and we have her realizing her feelings for that person, just like a very short one shot. This is an enjoyable little release. I've liked everything that Hino's done so far, but I haven't touched Vampire Knight because I've heard very mixed things on that. Then we've got Not Love But Delicious Foods Make Me So Happy by Fumi Yoshinaga, the BL girly, and also the girly behind a lot of acclaimed seinen like What Did You Eat Yesterday and Oku, which actually no, I actually don't know the genres. I feel like Oku is a josei and What Did You Eat Yesterday is a seinen. I'm really not entirely sure. Don't quote me on that. I was kind of iffy on this one for the similar reasons well, it's very, very wordy about the food that's being consumed, and it's just very, very wordy in general. It's kind of exploring a self-insert of the author, or maybe actually the author, and talking about how her stressors are solved by finding food at different places, going there, eating it, talking about it, which is interesting. I think this series is probably better read very slowly, like a chapter at a time, instead of just like reading the whole thing in a day, because it's just kind of, okay, she ate at this restaurant, cool. Next chapter, ate at this restaurant, da 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 da. Like nothing bad with the writing. It's just I don't feel like it really speaks to me very well to just read all of it at once. I mean, it's an enjoyable read, though, and she does go into specifics about everything about the food that's good, and it's based on real places in Japan, which is really cool. Then we've got the final volume of Antique Bakery, Volume 3. This is another series by Fumi Yoshinaga, another one that's not a BL, even though I thought it was initially. We have the Volume 4, excuse me. We have the resolution of the main lead, I don't know if there's any main leads, the owner of the bakery, his backstory about being kidnapped, finding out who kidnapped him, finding out the repercussions of that, and kind of resolving everybody's stories with a neat little bow. It was a very enjoyable series, one of my preferred Yoshinaga series, personally. Then we have volumes 1 and 2 of Summer Wars, which is part 1 and 2, a series about a world that exists with a very extensive virtual reality game that basically contains a lot of information about people. A lot of the world's infrastructure runs on the game. The game gets hacked, and the world starts to fall apart, and it falls to these young boys to figure out how to fix it and how to solve the issues happening with the virtual reality program that is going to cause the end of maybe the end of the world that was hacked. We also start off with the main character kind of wanting to become a code breaker, I think. What does he trying to trying to become? I don't remember. I think he's like trying to become trying to win a mathematician competition because he's very, very good with numbers, and that kind of plays into something that happens in the second part. It was an enjoyable read. I don't know how well it stacks up to the anime. Then we have 3 volumes of Buddha. I was able to get through 3, 4, and 5 this month. Now, if you ask me about full specifics about them, I can't say for sure, but we are definitely getting more into Buddha's story and a lot less on these side characters. We get some chapters of the side characters, but we get a lot of like watching Buddha's journey as we traverse through it. It's very interesting historical fiction. I do think it's best read very slowly over time instead of all at once because it's very wordy and very long. But yeah, I enjoy it so far. It's the longest Tezuka work I've read, and I'm still 3 volumes away. But anyways, that's everything I've read in January of 2025. So I will talk to all of y'all next month with my first haul for February 2025. Have a good one.